There are some 20-year-olds that already have a financial advisor. But the reason is because their father taught them you need to have someone advising you in these matters. Because if that's not your field, you're going to be distracted with many other things. And there are other people who have not had such luck to have their parents do that, and they can be well into their 40s and they've never looked into it. So the first step really is to get help. If you haven't had anybody teaching you how to do certain things in the financial world, get help. There are actually fewer financial advisors today, financial professionals, than there were 5 years ago. So it's shrinking, yet there were about 8,000 people turning 65 every day for the next 20 years.
Yeah,
so
so
the baby boomers.
And there's something I actually want to piggyback off of what Kleber just said, and this is a big point. Financial advisors are not only available to the high net worth. Mm-hmm. They are available to each and every person that walks on this earth. If you want help from a financial professional, trust me, we are more than willing to come out and sit down with you, educate you, and teach you exactly what you're wanting to do based on your personal situation. This is not only available to the high net worth individuals. This is open to everyone.
But I will say this too, and just to piggyback off of what they said, but first and foremost, the number one investment is investing in yourself.
Absolutely.
Once you can invest and believe to invest in yourself, then it will take you to the next step. Because a lot of times people grow up and they don't have that person that, like Kleber mentioned, that 20-year-old, well, his dad invested in him. And sometimes we just don't have that. So when you get to a point in your life, or even now, invest in yourself, and it will lead you to other things.
Well, when you say that about investing, and even it just brings me even to your business that you guys have, your video viewer.
Yes.
And I was going to say, and Jonathan, you're so right. You can go online and get information regarding all kinds of things to do when you invest and understand that. And I want either you or Terrell to kind of give us an understanding on what the video viewer does.
Well, what our system does in a nutshell is it allows you to upload. We market to independent business owners all the way up to small businesses. And we allow you to upload a 2-minute or less promo video about your company, product, or service. You can take that, load it into our system, blast it out via email, and then you get a text message back on your phone in real time from somebody that wants to buy from you. Now, the thing that's proprietary about our software is people are familiar with Facebook and Twitter and LinkedIn. Well, on Facebook, for example, if you load a status update, a picture, you normally have to wait for somebody to hit like, comment, or share to know that they interacted. Well, with our system, all they have to do is watch the video. We capture the person's information, and we send it back to our clients in real time to let them know who's ready to buy.
Now let me tell you how key and important that is. When I thought of when I came up with the concept, I'm a salesperson in nature, and when I came up with the concept was that I wanted to get my product in front of a lot of people in a short period of time, but I knew that just by doing that and wasn't able to track it, I would just be getting in front of a lot of people. Almost like the same system or the theory of YouTube. You can look at videos and see a lot of view counts, but you don't know uniquely of all the people who watched your video. So when I came up with the concept and I put it together, I needed to know who was looking at my product so I can capitalize on it. But even further, when we took it to the marketplace for small businesses, I understood, just like me and Terrell, when we first started, we did not have the Coca-Cola marketing budget, the McDonald's marketing budget, the Chick-fil-A marketing budget to get started in a business. So when I went to him, I needed a partner. I needed help to quantify this system so that everybody can afford to be able to market their business for less than $1 a day.
Wow.
So we went to the marketplace, and that's where we are.
Well, and here again, we're talking about investments. And like those two got together, then you and Jonathan got together and derived something that you wanted to do to go out and what? Help people.
Exactly.
Pay it forward. So talk to me about you and Jonathan in your investment group.
Yes, we are with New York Life Securities, which is a division of New York Life. And basically what we try to do is we try to help people plan. Everything has to be planned out into the future. The majority of people that we meet have little to to moderate understanding how the market works. But and some people are scared completely of the market, but there are going to be cycles. There are going to be ups and downs with the market. Sometimes you lose money, sometimes you make money, but there's no other industry that has made more millionaires than the stock market. So what we try to tell people is try to sit with them and show how to be diversified, how to hedge risk, yet still capitalize on what the stock market can bring. All of our investment, all of our retirement accounts mostly are in the market. When you have a 401k through your job,
Right.
it is invested in the market.
Right,
So
right.
a lot of people don't even know that. It's like it's invested in the market already.
Right.
So what we try to do is we try to find out how aggressive you should be, how conservative you should be based on your risk tolerance. But the best thing that we as a company try to do is avoid taxation when you retire. We're very good at finding the vehicles that you can almost entirely avoid taxes. If you have a 401k, naturally you're going to have to pay taxes anyway. But if you have other vehicles to offset that are tax-free at withdrawal, then you're already ahead of the game. because
Right,
then you don't have to-
I'm just loving you guys being here because there's a lot of people that work. And they have 401ks, because I've had 401ks on my various jobs and that sort of thing as well. And even though we have them, we need to really understand
Yes.
what they are a little better than we do.
Definitely.
Because you get that proximity and all that in the mail, but even if you just start the internet and reading about what these are, and they tell you, you can put 20% in this one, 10% in that one, and break it down. Well, we as workers investing, we're talking about investments, audience, invest in knowing what you got going on anyway.
Yes.
Right, and know your options. I mean, I remember working, and when I looked at my 401k plan, one of the big ideas that I had was just to figure out how can I be a little more aggressive. The younger I was, I wanted to be more aggressive, and I knew as I got older, then I could be more conservative. So you got to really look at what's inside your 401k plan and say, wait a minute, maybe I can look at this technology fund that my company offers, and be a little more aggressive
Right, right.
because I'm open to it. And then as I get older, then you start looking at bonds and different things like that.
Yeah, and we're actually down to the last segment. I have to tell you, you guys got to come back again, because one thing about Express Yourself, when we give information, I like it coming from the same horse's mouth.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying? I don't like the hip scop and you guys are here this time and next time got a whole nother group. No, because when you get into the groove of what someone's saying and understanding who they are, then you become more comfortable with knowing that they're telling the truth.
And taking
And
it
Express
love it.
Yourself is here because we want to help you understand where you're sitting, because money matters. We were almost to the end. We're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we're going to be almost out of here, and I want each one of my guests to give you some final notes, so sharpen that pencil. We'll be right back. We're back, and we're almost out. Now, you know what? I'm going to get each one of these, my wonderful guests, on camera to say they'll be back, right? Come on, audience. Because it's so important that we, as people, start understanding how our finances really work. I mean, we've got a broad picture. Even I want you guys to come back also on another and start letting people understand the correlation between your personal life and finances and what the world does. Because we're just talking about, when we talk about 401ks, these are things that our income is actually, and our wealth building for later years is attached to other parts of the world, and we don't even know that.
Exactly. The 401k is really the house that the investment is in. It's not the actual investment. When you look at 401ks, IRAs, Roth, all it means is how it's taxed. But the underlying investments, it can be in the mutual funds, individual stocks, even the savings accounts. I don't know why people do that, and it can be spread all over the world. And there's plenty of opportunity all over the world that people can capitalize on.
Right, and because even when I look at my 401k and the breakdown, because they ask you want 100% over here or diversify. Look that up, diversify, all right? because then you want to put like 20% over here. Why? Because you want to hedge your bets or whatever. Because you know what I'm
Yes.
saying? Put a little,
Yeah.
if this don't work, this
Yeah.
will. You know what I'm saying? Instead
Yeah.
of putting all your eggs in one basket and the
Exactly.
basket break, you fall and all the eggs break and you're really messed up.
Because there's companies that are just starting out. They're small cap companies. They're companies that have been established for a while. You know, they're the ones in the middle. So you want to take a piece of all those companies in the market. So because some of the ones that are starting out, they can grow to become big companies,
Right.
therefore bringing more profits. The ones that are already established, they can just keep doing what they're doing. And they'll still give you, that'll increase your bottom line. So.
Well, so speaking of that, I want you guys to make a note because we want to explain to people that part about getting in on the low side first. You know, because, you know, it's like with multi-level marketing. A lot of times you do good if you get in on the ground floor. And then by the time it cap out, if you were in there, then you made a little bit of something because I did it. You know what I'm saying? I worked. And there are a lot of the same companies that were in, they were really still in business. And they were just beginning to diversify and go into why. I mean, when I started out, the only thing they had was a phone. Then they had the pagers. Well, now they got electricity, the whole nine.
Yep.
And in talking about that, I want to go to you, Terrell, because we're on our last segment here. And I want you to look into that camera and give the audience a key to take home where you know that they can write this down and at least give them the step one on how to invest in their future.
Well, I'll give you three things. My thing is actually to innovate by embracing technology. So just like you can go out and find new investment opportunities, things that are out there in the world around you that aren't common. I mean, when you embrace technology, you can actually find these investments. You can find small cap companies. There's a company out there called, I know you guys don't do recommendations a lot, but there's companies out there called Tesla Motors and Solar City where they're doing solar panels and they got cars that drive 300 miles off of one charge. So when you start embracing technology, you can find out about these different companies and these different innovations. YourVideoViewer.com is another technology company where we're innovating all the time on how we can share video.
Give us your website, if that's okay.
Sure, it's www.yourvideoviewer.com. And you can also call us at 724-484-3362.
All right, and you're going to learn more about that because this is their first time, but not their last. Jonathan.
Yes. The biggest takeaway that I can give all the viewers at home is you've got several products out there that you can invest in, but the most important thing that you need to have is you need to have a strategy. Without a strategy, all you have is a bunch of products that are going to try and work for you. Strategy is going to be the key component that holds everything together and is going to get you from point A to point B. You know, make sure you have a great strategy put in place, and trust me, if you find a good advisor, you'll definitely be able to get to where you want to go. Our website is www.newyorklife.com. Our investment site is mainstayinvestments.com.
Okay, thank you so much. Ricky, give them something.
Well, my number one takeaway would be that money does come with instructions. And if you want to grow your wealth and grow your money, then assemble yourself with a good team. It's not a shameful thing that when you need help, go ask for help, because it does. Also, on the other hand, too, as far as entrepreneurship, you may see the glory, but there's a story behind every successful glory venture. And you have to understand that failure is a part of the process, but you have to have that passion to get through the downs to get you through to the ups. So just keep in mind that failure is part of the process, but don't give up. And you have to be consistent with your persistence.
Say that again, I like that. Be consistent.
Well, you have to be consistent with your persistence. And that's going to take you to the end. So again, my name is Ricky Downs, CEO of YourVideoViewer.com. Please go to our website, www.yourvideoviewer.com.
Okay, now we're going to kind of do a wrap-up conversation. And I was sitting here and we were talking about the investments. And actually, I had ran across a note that I had made that was kind of interesting to me when we were talking about 401ks and investments and that sort of thing. The amount of money that when we do these 401ks and we talk about investments and the country altogether, I was reading something where investors pushed more than $65 billion into the European market, the European stock market. That's just one of that.
Yeah.
Now, when I'm going to go to you guys, you're investors. When I read that, it says investors pushed more than $65 billion into European stocks in the first 6 months.
In the first 6 months of the year.
Right.
Yeah, that could mean a lot of different factors. We live in a global economy, so things that happen outside of the United States can affect us, whether it's positive or negative. But just to give an example about European stocks, in Asia right now, there are more India, and they have over 1 billion people. There are more honor students in India than America has students. Think about that for a minute.
Wow.
There are more honor students than America has students. All of these kids, they're going to be coming out of school. They're going to be getting college. They're going to be getting jobs, whatever sector they're in. What are they going to want? They're going to want cell phones. They're going to want the gadgets, all the little things that we have, iPads. So there is plenty of opportunities in companies outside the United States, whether it's in Asia, whether it's in Europe, which is why you should be, part of your portfolio should definitely be things outside of the United States.
Well, and even with that, and I'm so glad you gave me that bit of information, because doesn't that sound like to me that now as we're still here and we are around a lot of youth, and should we not be feeding into our youth the importance
Definitely.
of understanding technology and not really believing that hype about go to school, go to college, get a good grade, and work for a major 50, what is it, the 501?
Fortune 500.
Fortune 500 company, instead of being, because if that many youth in a foreign country is that way, wouldn't they be the ones that's owning the businesses?
Exactly.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yes.
So we need to kind of instill that into our youth here. Like with the, even though they just started with the school, the college here, starting an entrepreneur. But I think wouldn't it be more efficient though and effective we just as individuals taught that?
Yeah, the kids, actually, they have a grasp on technology sometimes better than the parents do.
They do. I call my
But-
grandkids all the time.
Yeah, and then, but the question is, if you were teaching them, how could you make that better? How could you make an app that
Right.
will solve that problem that you have?
Right.
If you showed them to that mindset, then they would start creating some of the things that we value now, that have benefited us, through advancements of technology.
Because like Terrell, you and Ricky, with your technology, I bet, because what you said to me, but I bet my granddaughter understood that real quick. Whereas when you said about you email and come back in real time, blah, 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 my granddaughter probably understands exactly what you're saying.
Right. Well, the hardest thing to do when you're trying to figure out as a business owner how to market is how to reach enough people. So that's the problem that we're solving. Is how
Right,
can you
and it
actually
sounds
get
like
out there and
that's
reach them
pretty
in real time?
That's pretty nifty, because I want to talk to you guys about that. I like that.
Thank you.
That sounds, well, I'm thinking too, as far as even with viewership,
Right.
with media.
Absolutely.
Yes, entertainment.
Yeah.
I mean, we cover the whole gambit, and you're right. The youth grasp our process a whole lot faster. You always hear, "I'm not a techie. I'm not a techie." Well, if you can read, you're a 101 techie in my book. So as long as you can read and you can grasp it, you can learn. And and then once you learn, you know it. And that's what it's about. Our system's very easy and a lot of other things. So yes, number one, grasp technology.
Because it's not going anywhere.
It's not going anywhere for
It's here
us.
to stay.
Right. Now, before we close, as far as, let's talk about, just quickly, understanding asset management.
Asset management. In what aspect?
Just for in general, when that term falls out there in finance, asset management, just to a lay person, what would you equate asset management to me as far as how important is it?
It's extremely important. When I hear somebody say asset management, it's pretty much taking care of your assets, make sure they're growing, and make sure that you hedge them against risk as much as possible. Now, there's another term to assets under management, the ones that we manage for other people. But when you have a tremendous amount of assets, or we're just starting to build an asset base, you really need to sit with a professional that can kind of just show you what the risks are. Because a lot of times people end up with assets, they don't see any of the risk of having 10 investment properties, for example, and not having any money saved up or all of their money into their investment properties. You see what I mean? So we try to show them how much of a risk that position is and make them aware of what classification that is as far as risk.
Well, okay, now, I want to tone it down a little bit because, say for instance, we're talking asset management 101. My assets is a house, car, a little 401k. Now, we're looking at this normal level as far as what, for me to manage my assets, because those are my assets. I do have a car. And I do have a house that I'm paying on. I do have a 401k, and I got a little, keep the change savings and that sort of thing. When we do that, I mean, is that where we need to start? I mean, would you
Definitely.
consider an individual saying, this is what I need to do when it comes to asset management? And the only reason I'm saying this before we end the show is because when you see financial things on the news, they're talking about the big stuff. So therefore, I won't listen.
Well, let me just say this.
'Cause we got about 30
on
seconds.
a smaller scale then. In looking at those type of assets, to manage that, you would say to yourself, okay, I have a car loan. Well, if I send an extra payment, on my car directly to the principal, I will take that and I will take that loan
Thank
down
you.
and save interest.
Right.
Same way with a home. If I send an extra payment on a 30-year fix, I can bring it down from
Thank
30
you.
years to 15. That's where you start the asset management.
Thank you so much. And that's what I wanted you to get today. No matter how big it is, if you have a house, if you have a car, even though it might be a Lexus, Mercedes, or even a Maybach, those are your assets. And this is where you can start to maintain